Hello and welcome. This is my second vlog, excuse me. This is my second vlog, this kind of thing I make. So yesterday I tried to explain a concept of photography, which is less is more, in the sense of putting less things in a frame makes the expression more powerful. And I linked it to a real life situation, a real life composition in our lives, in our street, in our society, in our culture, that if we put material possessions in our lives, the human, the person element diminishes, and it's drawn in those unnecessary things, that kind of thing. It was a sloppy maybe video. I struggled to articulate it in a smooth manner, but I'm not quite comfortable in front of the camera. This time I'm going to link it to another composition concept in photography, in the arts, and that is including what's necessary and excluding what's not necessary. This is an important concept in any art form, in poetry, in novels, in visual arts. If you put unnecessary things in your composition, in the frame, then the frame gets unnecessarily crowded and diminishes the subject. However, if you exclude the unnecessary things from the frame, it becomes more beautiful, or compositionally better. So how can we apply this in our lives? What are the things we unnecessarily put in our lives, and what are the things we can reduce from our lives, we can exclude from our lives? That may be an interesting thing to think about. From our personal lives, from our family life, from our street, from our culture, what can we exclude? If we try to include all of the things, if we try to go after our greed, if we try to go after riches, if we try to value other things than our personal inner self, then our life's composition may be reduced to a lesser one. So in the Turkish version, this time I recorded the Turkish one first, but in that one the train of thought was better, I think. But I'm getting there. I said there something I forgot to say here, so I'm adding it now. So if this is the good thing about a free form talking, you can do sort of whatever you want. So the French palaces are very fancy ones, very fancy stuff, lots of gold, etc. What's it called? I don't know. Very fancy palaces, etc. But the human element is lost in those palaces. And during that time, the guillotine, it was people who were going under the guillotine, and they were cutting people like salads. This shows a bit of the time of perception of what's valuable to that culture in that time and space. Yeah, we are now talking about cosmology. Yeah, it shows us, it gives us clues about the culture we are talking about, we are looking at. So in our cultures, in ourselves, what do we value? What's this composition principle, meaning including what's necessary and excluding what's not necessary, can and may teach us? Composition is very important. I just finished a recording just before the Turkish version of this video, and I have a free ebook, 17 most common composition mistakes, in my photography website and photography social media channels. You can find it there, and I'm making a course version of it. So the intro is like this. What makes a good photograph? Subject, scene, story, light, contrast, highlights, shadows, post-processing, composition. Actually, composition is putting all of them together in a harmonious way. What breaks a good photograph? Well, lack of any one of these may reduce a good photograph to a lesser one. However, if the composition is off, then that photograph may even go to the trash can, and etc. etc. It goes on like that. This is the intro of my course version of that 17 most common composition mistakes. So these are some ideas that come to my mind while working on the concept of composition. Composition is just putting the elements in together, glue them together in a harmonious way. So how can we have our lives in a harmonious way, like an art? Maybe these composition tips, composition principles may help us understand and solve these puzzles ourselves. Yesterday, in the previous video, I talked about less is more. In this video, I'm talking about including what's necessary and excluding what's not. Maybe these principles can teach us a more harmonious, maybe more artful life of ourselves. All right, I think I'm getting used to talking this thing. Hopefully I'll get better, and see you next time. Bye bye.